here we are, once again. So here we are, another cigar box build, guitar build. And I'm going at it a little differently today because I don't have any plans. I usually jot down some measurements with some ideas and then I'll take it to a larger piece of paper, a larger scale, and map everything out and have everything, all the supplies that I need before I start this project. But I didn't do that, so I'm just going to wing it, I guess. I'm going to take some measurements now and come up with some ideas. The neck itself, well, this is an interesting story. So a few months back, I was hiking with a bunch of buddies of mine in the northern mountains of Italy, and we were backpacking. And we spent about a week and a half out there in the mountains, and I stumbled upon a fallen tree, and there was this one piece that was perfect length. I had to take it because it was an old tree, growth rings on it. I took it back to my shop, I milled it down to about 1.5 inches by 1.5 inches, roughly about 36 inches long, and just the history in this alone. I bought it at Home Depot. What kind of motivated me to start this next cigar box guitar was this box right there. Something about it captivates me. I like the design, sort of the same graphic, and I like the tone of the wood. And this, I can imagine the best sounding quality box ever. It's roughly 2.5 inches wide, and I'm not expecting great sound quality at all. On top of the lid there's like a routed edge that's going to present a little bit of a challenge when cutting it, so we'll have to cross that bridge when we get to it. Alright, so there's the box. The neck stock itself is, again, it's red oak, and I'm using I could just go with this and put the frets on the top for the fretboard, but I'm going to go with a maple cap. Hopefully the maple will be a contrasting color to the red oak. It'll be a little lighter, so that'll be nice. So I'm using some maple for the fretboard cap. Let's do it. Let's get some measurements and see where it takes us. I'm going to go ahead and roughly get my centers on this. I'm working backwards because I have the camera this way, so I'm working the opposite way. And I'm just going to get my center on the box. I am going to put some blue painter's tape on here so I can clearly identify my center lines, because the pencil doesn't really transfer to this detail. Alright, here's where I'm at right now. So I took out some calipers, some angle finders, and all the good stuff. And I needed a few measurements. I needed the inside of the box, the lid and the bottom, and I also needed the thickness of the sides. And as you can see, I taped out the bottom half of my cut that I need to make for the neck, and I'm working on the top right now. That's why I needed the measurement of the lid. And I also went ahead and roughly marked up where the actual neck insert support piece is going to be inside the box. So I took into account the thickness of the inside of the box, and that's about 5/16 of an inch. I offset it a little bit, and that gives me this line right there, which is the edge of the box. So that's where the heel will start, right around that point. So, and I also went ahead and put about a 1.5 degree angle on the back of the neck. I don't know if you can make it out, but there's roughly a 1.5 degree angle, a back angle. This is going to be a 24-inch scale length. Basically what I did was, that's the way it's going to fit inside the box. And let me put it this way to show you the relationship of it. And I measure out 24 inches. I don't want to cover up any of the important detail work in this picture, so I want the bridge to be right around that area. and the string catcher is going to come up with a hinge, and I'll get the break angle that I need if I don't go too close and if I don't go too far this way. So roughly right around there is where the bridge placement's going to be. So that'll dictate where the nut wants to be, the string nut wants to be. And so if I go 24 inches from there, and I already made a mark on the wood over here. If I go 24 inches, so my nut, it wants to land right there. That's where the string nut's going to go. So once I have those 2 points and 2 measurements, I have to stick with them. I can't move away from them, because if you do, then you're going to gooch it. I marked up, not roughly, exactly where I want that bridge to go. I cannot change my mind midway. I can't do anything. It dictates the whether or not the guitar stays in tune or even sounds in tune. So you cannot move away from those 2 points. That's the most important thing. And that also dictates your fret spacing as well. Cannot move away from that. You can't. You have to stick to your scale. Don't ever change your scale length midway through a project. Ask me why I know that. Way. This took a fair amount of handwork because you have that profile right there, and I felt the need to match that profile where the neck meets the box and get a good, there you go. I wanted to get as close as possible to that profile so there wasn't any unsightly gaps. That's what I was working for. It took a little bit. Come on, focus, focus. I have my angle cut so I can get that back relief a little bit in the neck angle. It's only about 1.5 degrees back, just enough. So it's getting there. It's always challenging working on a box that's already made. We're getting there. So I took it to the bandsaw and I made my angle cut on the headstock and a rough cut, angle cut of the back of the neck and also the heel. And I also glued on some, I guess what you would call ears on either side of the headstock to widen the headstock. And we're getting there. Let the glue dry and we'll continue on. Alright, here we are. The glue has had time to dry. I took the clamps off and I am bringing it down to a rough dimension. I have, as I said, my back angle. I have the headstock back angle as well. I prepared the surface of the neck to accept the fretboard. I put frets on it. And right now I'm just taking a few different hand tools, the Shin-2 and some files to take down some of the smaller edges. That way I can work with it without getting it caught or missing a step. So that's what I'm doing right now. Okay, now that I have my rough shape of the headstock, I'm going to go over to the bandsaw. Follow along. Come on. Come on. I'm going to go to the bandsaw. Come on. All right, so I just finished shaping the headstock and sanding it a little bit. And I prepared both surfaces. This is the maple cap for the fretboard. I did a little detail work on the back end of the fretboard. And now I'm getting ready to glue it up. Let's go. All right, to catch you up to speed, as you just saw in my time lapse, I did a lot of work on the neck. I put some walnut inlays, dot inlays in the headstock. I did some rough shaping on the headstock for now. I did some high grit sanding on the maple fretboard because I'm gearing up for my next stage, which is putting the frets in. I already started cutting the slots in there. And funny story is I put some side dots on and I didn't have any material for those side dots, so I used a comb. These work out perfectly. They're nice and rigid and they sand very well. And there's a nice contrast up against the maple. So that's what I used. I used what I had. So on to the next step. I'm going to clean up these slots a little bit more with my fretting saw, and then I'm going to hammer some frets in. All right, so I'm done with the frets. It was a little bit of a pain because one or two frets kept popping out on me. I'm not sure why. Probably user error. Probably too aggressive with the fret saw. But I was able to super glue them back into place and they should be fine. So I did file them down to the width of the fretboard for now, and then I'll finish them off when I'm done carving the back of the neck. So that's my next step. All right, neck is done. Nope, that's not it. This is the neck. All right, so I did a bunch of stuff off camera. I did the final shaping of the neck profile to what I like. And for whatever reason, I'm never satisfied with the shape of the headstock, so I keep changing it. But I think I kind of reached a point where I'm going to have to like it. And I still have to drill the holes for the tuner pegs. So what I've also done is I leveled out all the frets, crowned them, and I just need to polish them. But I think I'm going to put this aside for now and end this for now. And in my next video, I'll complete the whole guitar. I still have to do some work on the box itself, a few structural things, nothing major. And also I'm waiting for some Amazon deliveries to come in, so for me to finish it. But hit that like button, subscribe, and leave comments below on everything that I'm doing wrong.